A bidet can really level up your bathroom experience, but it can be a little tricky to clean. So let me show you 10 things you need to know to keep your bidet clean and working great. The first tip is to get the bidet ready to be cleaned. So I like to start by extending the nozzle. You'll notice on my remote here, I have this nozzle clean button that pulls the nozzle out, giving us easy access for cleaning. Now, every bidet is going to be a little bit different, so if you're not quite sure how yours does this, just check the manual. Now, another tip I always recommend, because safety first, is to unplug the unit from the wall before you start any cleaning. And then the last thing, just to make sure I don't get splashed while I'm cleaning, is to shut the water off. Tip number 2 is to stay away from using harsh chemicals on the bidet. Now, the reason being is because bidets are usually made out of plastics like ABS and polypropylene. So if you use things like bleach, ammonia, or even alcohol over an extended period of time, what can happen is it can discolor, yellow, crack, or even make the plastic brittle. Now, you might not notice it right away, but it will happen over time. And let's be real, bidets are an investment and we don't want that. Instead, it's important to use the right tools. Now, I like to start by coming through with a Swiffer duster, usually an older one, and just dust the entire bidet and toilet down. Usually if you've cleaned a toilet before, you know, like hair and different fuzzes like to get stuck on the porcelain and the seat there. And usually those are kind of hard to get off once you spray it with cleaner. So by dusting it first, this completely removes that, so it's easier to clean later. Now, when it comes to cleaner, it's recommended by the manufacturers to use a mild detergent. And the one I saw recommended the most is Dawn Antibacterial. I mix about a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons with some warm water in a spray bottle. Then I come through, spray down the bidet, and what I like to do is use a damp microfiber towel to rinse everything, and then a dry microfiber towel to dry the surface, leaving no moisture behind. Now, I will say many bidets have a lot of cracks and crevices. When it comes to using any sort of brush or scrubber on the actual bidet itself, always stay away from anything that could cause scratching or damage. So to clean those areas, I suggest using either a Q-tip or a soft bristle toothbrush. Now, before I show you how to clean the nozzle, I have to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, ManyBidet.com, your ultimate destination for all things bidet. Whether you're looking to get your first bidet, or maybe you've had one for a while and you're ready to upgrade to a top tier model, ManyBidet.com has you covered. I personally went with an Eco Nova bidet because it brings cleanliness and hygiene to the next level. Not only does it have something called a silver nanofiltration system, making sure that you have clean water from start to finish, but it also has a UV light that sanitizes the nozzle after each use. Make sure to check out their incredible selection, and if you do decide to buy one, definitely use my code CLEANTHATUP10 for 10% off your order. Thanks so much again to ManyBidet.com for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to cleaning. Tip number 4 is to clean the nozzle regularly. And this is really the heart of the bidet. It does all the cleaning for us, so we want to make sure to keep it clean. Now, to do this, it's nice and simple. Just use the mix that we have in the spray bottle, spray it down, and then the soft bristle toothbrush, give everything a good scrub, and then I like to come through with a damp microfiber towel to rinse everything, and a dry microfiber towel to make sure everything is nice and dry. Now, I will say I recommend doing this at least once or twice a month. Now, tip number 5 is for those of you that live in an area with really hard water. Now, sometimes what can happen is the mineral deposits and things can build up on the nozzle, causing it not to spray as well or even affect the pressure of the nozzle itself, and we don't want that. So what I recommend to use is just a 1-to-1 mix of vinegar and water. Come through with the toothbrush and just give that area a scrub with that mix. Many times this will take care of that hard water. Now, if it's really bad, I do recommend just grab a towel and soak it in the mix and just wrap it around the nozzle and let it sit for a while to just kind of do its thing and break down all the hard water buildup. But then it's really important to always come through to make sure to rinse the nozzle and then just dry it with a nice clean microfiber cloth, and you should be good to go. Now, similar to a regular toilet seat, for tip number 6, I recommend to remove the bidet if possible, at least once a month to clean underneath. Now, just like a normal toilet seat, all sorts of gunk and grime kind of like to build up here. So it's important to pull it off, give everything a good wipe down. Now again, this is porcelain here on the bottom, so you can use your regular cleaners for that. It's not gonna cause any damage, but make sure to always use the dish soap mix for the bottom of the bidet here. But just by doing this, you're not only gonna keep this area nice and clean, but it's also gonna prevent any stinky odors from developing in your bathroom. Tip number 7 is actually something we've been doing throughout the entire clean, but I just like to mention it as a reminder, and that is to make sure to dry everything thoroughly after we're done cleaning. It's important because we don't want to leave any moisture behind. There are electrical components in the bidet here, so we don't want to damage those. But most importantly, when we come through with the dry clean microfiber cloth, we remove any sorts of streaks, leaving it nice and clean and shiny. Tip number 8 is to clean or replace your water filter on the bidet. Now, sometimes you can have issues with your bidet just not having good pressure or spraying properly, and usually this is caused by the filter being clogged. So just take this out, give it a quick clean, or if it's kind of getting older, maybe rusty, or you just need to replace it, put it back in, and you should be back to normal. Tip number 9 is to regularly clean your controller or control panel for your bidet, because let's be real, it's a remote control in the bathroom and it's gonna get dirty. So for this, I suggest using a disinfectant. Now, something to always note and keep in mind is never directly spray your cleaner on the remote itself, because this can damage the components and just cause it to stop working. So instead, always spray your towel, then give everything a good wipe down. And as we mentioned in tip 7, always come through with a dry, clean microfiber towel to dry everything, leaving no streaks behind. And the last tip is to create a cleaning schedule. Really, consistency is gonna keep your bidet lasting longer and in top shape. Regular maintenance like cleaning the seat, the nozzle, even underneath, and all the areas we talked about today at least once a month is gonna ensure that not only your bidet works well, it stays hygienic, but also you protect your investment and it lasts as long as possible. And there you have it. Now you know the best way to take care of your bidet. Thanks so much for watching as always, and if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel, or if you have a question, definitely drop a comment down below. Thanks so much again to manybidets.com for sponsoring this video, and as always, I need to give a huge shout out to the Clean Squad members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you want to learn more about that and join us over there, check the link down in the description below, and I'll see you on the next clean.